Hi fellow Django developers, Hezekiah here from AlwaysDjango.com, where we discuss interesting Django topics that help you grow, improve as a Django developer. If that sounds interesting, like, subscribe, share this video with anyone you feel find this video important. Let's get into it. So today we are going to discuss how to loop over query sets in model query sets in Django, right? So in our last tutorial, we looked at the Django messages framework, right? So where we created a book and we have a message. For instance, if we go to our URL right here, so if we go to our URL right here and go to create book, right, we have this, and we create, if we create a book, name it whatever we want and say submit, it creates a book in our database and it gives us a message saying book was created, right? That's what we did in the last tutorial. So in this tutorial, we'll be looking at how to list the books that are created in the database, right? So to achieve that, first of all, we are going to, this is our view function right here. This is our view function right here that renders out this list books template, which is what we have here, right? So first of all, we will be going to the database, retrieving those books in the database. After retrieving them, we'll pass them to our template file, our HTML template file. Then we'll loop over them in the template file, right? So if you don't know about template looping, I'll go through it in this tutorial. But if you want to understand it more, we have a tutorial, maybe the 6th video in this playlist, where we looked at Django template loops, Django template variables, etc, right? So if you don't really follow here, I'll leave a link to that video in the description. It should also be popping up on your screen if you're watching on YouTube, so that you can look at that video and continue, right? So first thing first, we said we are going to first get the book query set, right? Query set is like a list of model. A query set of a model, Django model, is like a list of that model instance, right? So for instance, we are talking that we have the book model right here, right? So a query set is like a list, right? Inside this list, right, we have something like, this is a book, right? Inside that book we have the name of the book with its value. We have maybe the description of the book with its value, the is published or not, then with maybe is published with true or false and what have you, right? So here we have this list. The query set is a list, right? With this is an instance of a book. Then maybe we have another book, and maybe another book, and maybe another book, and yeah, that's what a query set is in Django, a model query set at least, right? So we're going to say books. Let's create a variable books, right? This book will be a book instance, then dot objects dot all, right? So let's import these books. Let's import these books from our model. So from books.model, this is our model. If you don't know about Django models, I'll also leave a link to it in the description. In this playlist, in the Django Absolute Beginner playlist, we also have a video going through Django models, right? So you can look at it and understand what models are, right? So what we are saying here is that we are creating a variable, right? In that variable, we are simply going to the model. We are calling the model the book.objects. This should be objects if I'm right. Objects dot all, right? What does this mean? We are saying the book model, then the object property dot all, right? Obviously there are other methods here. There is object.get, object.filter, object.delete, etc. So there are many methods we can use here. We'll be looking at them in later tutorial. Hopefully we'll come across them and look at them, right? So with this, we have gotten the query sets, that's the books that are stored in the database, right? So the next thing will be pushing them and adding them to the context. The context for our template, right? If you don't know what template contexts are, you should also go and check out our video. Check out maybe the first 2-3 videos in this playlist so that you understand, right? So context is simply an object, right, that contains variables to pass to the template, right? So here will be books, right? What's the context context variable name, let's also call it books, right? So if we go to this books list, right, so the next thing will be looping over these books, because like I said, this will be the query set is a list, right? A list that contains all the books that are stored in the database. So when we get them, we simply loop over them and output what we want, right? So what we say here is, we say, right, for book in books, right, for book in books, then we say end for loop, that's end for, right? So here we simply say, let's say h4, we output the book dot name. Hopefully we have that. Let's go to our model. We say book dot name, book dot description, right? So book dot name, then in a div, let me start this with a border real quick. Border, let's say 1 pixel, solid black, right? Then let's add a padding of 3 em. Then after that, we now output the book content, then book dot content, right? So going back to our browser, if we go back to our browser, go back here, then we reload. If we reload, as you can see, we are getting the books though, but we are not getting the book content. Let's go back. Okay, it's not book content, it's book description. So book dot description, right? So we say book dot description. So if we go back, reload, so you can see this is the name of the book, this is the description, name of the book, description, name of the book, description. So obviously you can style this however you want, right? So but for me, I have a commented code for, like, is a bootstrap code, right? So I commented it out. I can simply uncomment it right now, and then use it for this template, right? So if we come here, let me remove this and remove this, then let me show you how it looks. This is what we have. If we go to the bottom, this is how it looks, right? So I'm simply going to remove this for loop here. I'm simply going to remove this, then let me remove this space here. So remove this space here, then here is the book list. I obviously want to leave that. Here is the book list. Let me refresh. So the book list, I want to leave this. Then here I want the book name to be here, then here will be the book description, right? So we'll come here and let's wrap this. Let me cut this, then loop over it. Then here I'll say the same thing, book and books, right? If you know Python, of course you know Python, I'm guessing you know Python, you should know about for loops in Python, right? Just for looping over an iterable, right? So I'll paste this, then here should be the book description. So here we have book dot description. If my spelling is right, then here we have the book dot name, right? So we'll go back, refresh. Right now you can see here is the book list, then we have this book, Morgan Hezekiah, then we have learn Django, we have this. So if we go back to create book, right, if we go back to create book, let's say create book, right, then we say here is the name of the book, description is anything. We save. After saving, you can see book was created successfully. Then you can see that the book is at the bottom, right? We don't want this, right? Obviously, if maybe you use Facebook, you know that your most recent post, for instance, should be at the top, right? So this should be the most recent post at the top, then the bottom one should be at the bottom. The first one, the oldest one should be at the bottom, right? So the first to save should be the first to output, to list out. The oldest should be the last to list out, right? So if we go back to achieve this, if we go back and say here book.objects.or, we say dot order by, right? We say minus id, right? So if we go back and refresh, you can see this is the oldest book and is at the top. This is the next one. This is the newest book, rather. This is the newest book is at the top. Then this is the oldest is at the bottom. If we should go back and create another one, create book. So this is the newest book. Then here is the newest description. Yeah, so we save this, and as you can see, the newest book is at the top, the oldest is at the bottom, right? So that's it for the description for this tutorial today, looping over Django model and queries, looping over them. This is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I'll be looking at template inheritance, right? So here you can look, if you look at this template, you can see we are copying, we are doing a lot of code repetition here. You can see that in our header right here, we are repeating this here. So for most of our tutorial codes, right, I will be pushing it to this GitHub repository, right? This GitHub repository, YouTube complete, my GitHub repository, YouTube complete Django beginner playlist, right? I'll leave a link to it in the description. So if you come to this repository, right, if you come here to the branches, you get a list of branches. Now in these branches, for if you want to maybe look at the code for the URLs and views tutorial, you come here and click on the branch. If you want to look at the code for models and database and what have you, you come here and click on the branch. You can then maybe download the zip code or git clone it, right? So that's it for this. We are repeating this here, we are also repeating this here, we are also repeating this. So we are going to look at a way to, instead of repeating this, we will look at a way to inherit a part of our template code, inherit maybe the headers. We'll look for a way to inherit them and reuse them, right? So that's it for me today, guys. Like, subscribe, it will be very, very, very much appreciated. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuffs, guys. So have a nice day and peace.